Erik Halterman of Rotowire here with 6 players to pick up this weekend, starting with Tyler Mahle, just back from Tommy John surgery with the Rangers. There's been a lot of great pitchers coming back from injuries recently, and Cy Young winners like Clayton Kershaw and Robbie Ray, but don't lose track of Mahle. Over the last 4 years prior to his injury, he had a 3.90 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP, and that's while spending most of his time in Cincinnati. A 27% strikeout rate, 8.5% walk rate over that stretch. That's about league average control with a lot of whiffs. That works. Always nervous about any pitcher coming back from Tommy John surgery, but Mahle looked good in his season debut. Went 5 innings, 1 earned run Tuesday against the Astros. Be interesting to see what he's got down the stretch from a pitcher who's been quite good before he was hurt. Up next, David Festa, a rookie starting pitcher for the Twins. One of the more interesting pitching prospects to debut this year. He's number 48 on the latest top 400 prospect rankings here at RWPICKS.com. Festa throws 95 miles per hour with his fastball, has a good slider, decent changeup as well. And importantly, for our fantasy purposes, he's got the opportunity to stick in the rotation down the stretch for the Twins. Chris Paddock hasn't been pitching great and is now out with a forearm strain. Joe Ryan also recently left to start Wednesday with a triceps injury, so the opportunity's there for Festa, the talent's there as well. The numbers through his first 5 starts, or first 5 appearances, I should say, because one of them was long relief. 5.55 ERA, but a 3.21 SIERA. He's striking out 29% of opposing batters while walking just 6%. That's a very promising start for David Festa. Put it another way, he allowed 12 earned runs in his first 10 innings pitched, but he's only allowed 3 earned runs in 14 2/3 since then. That looks more like the pitcher Festa has promised to be, so let's see where this goes over the final 2 months. If you're looking for saves, I'd recommend Ryan Thompson in Arizona, or at least sort of. Paul Sewald has fallen out of the closer role, at least temporarily, in Arizona, having some struggles with his delivery. Thompson's the first option for saves for the Diamondbacks. He earned saves on Wednesday and Friday and was in line for more chances over the weekend, but struggled. Failed to complete one of them and ended up with a blown save win, so I guess that works for fantasy purposes. Thompson doesn't have the traditional closer profile. He really doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, 18% strikeout rate, but he does keep the ball on the ground at an elite level, 64% ground ball rate this season. Doesn't look like the guy who should emerge as the number 1 option in Arizona, but he's the guy who's getting the initial chances, so he earns a recommendation ahead of guys like AJ Puk, Kevin Ginkel, Justin Martinez for now, although I wouldn't rule out picking them up either. Especially if Thompson's already been claimed. Decent chance one of them beats him out over the final 2 months. On the offensive side, how about Brandon Lowe, second baseman for the Rays, has a 10.27 OPS since the start of July, and he's now in an everyday role after the deadline, or something close to it. He started against the last 2 lefties the Rays have faced, and 4 of the last 6. That's always a key in Tampa. We know how much they like to platoon there. Lowe missed time early in the season with an oblique strain, but now he has an 877 OPS with 13 homers in 64 games on the season. And he's looked like really the best version of himself we've seen. A 25% strikeout rate is the second best mark of his career, and his 15% barrel rate also the second best mark of his career. That combination, not just good for a second baseman, that would be good anywhere. Austin Riley, Christian Walker, those are players with some almost identical strikeout rates and barrel rates to Brandon Lowe this season. Lowe's always been quite good on a per-game basis, but not that durable, and I can't guarantee he's going to remain durable the rest of the year, but he's healthy now, and he's playing great, so get him in your lineup. Another offensive option, Joey Loperfido has stepped into an everyday role in Toronto after being dealt from Houston in the Yusei Kikuchi trade. With Houston, he was struggling to establish himself. He was playing a decent amount, but not against every righty and barely against lefties. And things haven't totally clicked for Loperfido at the major league level yet, but it's the sort of player worth taking a chance on, especially if you need power. In 43 major league games, it's just a 227 average with 2 homers and 2 steals, but in 39 games at the AAA level, he hit 272, 13 homers, and 9 steals. It's a power over hit profile for sure. Strikeout rate was at 28% in AAA, and that worked for Loperfido. His power was able to win out. It's up to a 38% strikeout rate in the majors. Obviously not going to work out if he keeps that number that high, but the Jays made a commitment to him, getting him as the prize of that Yusei Kikuchi deal and inserting him right into a role as the everyday number 2 hitter. If they like him and he showed good numbers in the minors. Let's see where this goes at the major league level in August and September. And finally, Matt Wallner of the Twins is doing his best Joey Gallo impression this season. The only player with a worse strikeout rate than Wallner's 42% mark in at least 100 plate appearances this season is Joey Gallo himself. But Matt Wallner, to go with his 42% strikeout rate, also has a 33% barrel rate. League average around 8% in that stat. Second place is Aaron Judge at 28%. Third place, Shohei Ohtani at 21%. Nobody else is above 20. And again, Matt Wallner, 33% barrel rate. He had a strikeout rate north of 50% in 13 games to start the year, had just a 513 OPS and was sent down. But ever since he's been called back up in early July, he's had a 1280 OPS, and that's with a strikeout rate of 36% over that stretch. So it just goes to show how absurd Wallner's power is. If he can just keep that strikeout rate even in the mid-30s, he hits the ball hard enough for the whole profile to work, and that's not something you can say of many players. The Twins do platoon heavily, so don't expect to see Wallner in there every day. Don't expect to see him starting against lefties. That does put a dent on the ceiling of his power numbers, but it also keeps his batting average from bottoming out. I doubt he's going to keep hitting 269 while striking out this often, but his expected batting average of 240, that's a perfectly fine mark given the power he's shown. For more names, check out the Saturday edition of the Rotowire Fantasy Baseball Podcast with me and my co-host, Ryan Boyer.